Well, next weekend, Manchester United meet Arsenal in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Before that, of course, there's a little date with Juventus in the semi-finals of the European Cup. But they certainly don't consider this game to be mere bread and butter league stuff. Alex Ferguson putting out as strong a side as he can in an effort to protect what is currently a 4-point lead over Arsenal. Last season, United were 5-2 winners here at Selhurst Park, and earlier this season they dished out another thrashing to Wimbledon by 5-1 at Old Trafford. So the crazy gang, as they've been known for years, perhaps not quite so crazy these days, have a little score to settle. In fact, more than one score to settle. Manchester United seeking a 10th straight Premiership win over Wimbledon. The man in charge is Graham Barber from Tring in Hertfordshire. The Premiership resuming after a break for the internationals. It's Wimbledon who kick us off at Selhurst Park. Neil Sullivan, who won his 5th cap for Scotland in midweek, but ended up on the losing side against the Czech Republic. Hartson yet to score for Wimbledon since his record £7.5 million move from West Ham. No such scoring problems for Dwight York though, 26 so far this season. He cost £12.5 million, £5 million more than Hartson. But what a buyer he's turned out to be for Alex Ferguson and Manchester United. This is Kerry Hughes. He's had his injury problems since joining Wimbledon from Luton, but given a start today. Trying to find his namesake Michael, who was in action for Northern Ireland against Germany and Moldova in the past week. Mistake by Kimball. David Beckham, who scored that glorious goal against Wimbledon on the opening day of the season a few years back. A lob from the halfway line, which was decidedly better than that cross. Poor centre from David Beckham. Thought I'd slip that one in because we don't get to use those words very often. Scored his first goal for nearly 5 months against Everton a fortnight ago. First Premiership goal for 5 months. He did get one in the Champions League against Brøndby. That was as long ago as November. Jason Newell has been used more in a midfield role lately. He's pretty lethal up front too. Dennis Irwin with United's throw. Cole's header finds Beckham. Flag is up against Andy Cole. First protest of the afternoon from the man who won his 4th England cap against Poland last week. And the referee, Graham Barber, just checking the ball. It would appear okay, and Alan Kimball will get ready to take this free kick. Marcus Gale, no doubt one of his intended targets here. Foul by John Hartson. Peter Schmeichel has only conceded 6 goals in his last 13 games. Wimbledon have only scored 5 in their last 13. Robbie Earle, their captain. This will be covered though by Dennis Irwin. Oh, and Schmeichel's clearance. It was nearly stopped by Hartson. It did spring off him. Blackwell's lob. Roy Keane. Blomqvist. Cole. York. I think United are getting into their stride. Neville. Beckham. Up it goes towards Cole. He was snuffed out. But an early chance for Manchester United. But then it rarely takes them too long to get going. Beckham's corner. Drifts all the way across to Blomqvist. He sends it back into the danger zone. It's collected by Neil Sullivan. And duly dispatched for Jason Newell to chase. And Gary Neville was a little hesitant. And Jason Newell is round Schmeichel and has put Wimbledon in front. Manchester United stunned. A mistake by Gary Neville. And I think he knows it. No surprise that Wimbledon should take the direct route here, and how effective it proved. Neville selling Schmeichel short. Ewell nipped in, still had a bit to do, but he did it. And dramatically, it's Wimbledon 1, Manchester United 0. Jason Newell also scored in this fixture at Old Trafford earlier in the season, but it was the only Wimbledon goal that day. They were crushed by 5-1. Sensational start though. Gary Neville trying to make amends. Beckham nips in. It's come off Blackwell, and it's plucked out of the air by Sullivan, who I guess can claim a considerable assist on that goal. Gary Neville also assisted Wimbledon. Now here's Hartson. Keane. Beckham. York back to Beckham. United will be wounded by that early goal. Gary Neville's cross, met by Dean Blackwell, then by Kerry Hughes. Here's Paul Scholes, and it opens up a bit for Scholes. Ably assisted by Gary Neville. Irwin. Blomqvist. Taking on Thatcher. And the free kick has been given in favour of Blomqvist. It's Liverpool 0, Everton 1 in the Merseyside derby. Olivier Dacour, the Frenchman, has scored a vital goal for the Toffeemen. David Beckham with his free kick as United look for an immediate response. Oh, and a free header for Henningberg. And he really should have done better. He wasn't picked up as Beckham floated it in, but he couldn't keep it down. Well, this is Gary Neville, and a moment he will want to forget. Irwin's last gasp lunge, unable to deny Ewell. Wimbledon leading by a goal to 0, and looking for another with Kerry Hughes. Cross went all the way, it was cleared by Irwin. It's worth pointing out that it's not the best playing surface in the world at Selhurst Park these days, to say the very least. An early shock to the United system. Schmeichel thought about coming, and it rolled through to him in the end as Robbie Earle tried to make up ground. Tracked every inch of the way by Scholes. Derby 1, Newcastle 0. Dion Burton has got the goal. Didn't quite come off for York and Cole, and that's very unusual. Thatcher. Ewell. He left Kimball with a fair bit of ground to make up. Alan Kimball, one of the bargain buys that Wimbledon have had to make really down the years. He came from Cambridge 6 years ago. Here he is. Kimball looking for Hartson. Gale. So Alex Ferguson in what must be a fairly unusual position for him. Goal down. Sullivan's towering kick met by Ronnie Johnson. Ben Thatcher. Ewell's header. Neville steps in. Here's Keane. Beckham. Neville nudged by Kerry Hughes. Who didn't appear to be in total agreement with the decision. Hence, a ticking off from Graham Barber now. Well, it's in Beckham territory. It's a long way out, but you get the feeling he'll fancy it. David Beckham. In fact, he chips it in. It was much ado about nothing in the end. Keane. Scholes. Scholes. Well, when you're in the sort of form that he's in at the moment, it really is worth having a go. Hat-trick hero for England against Poland last week, but dragging that effort wide. Nick Harford is looking after the Wimbledon team with Dave Kemp in the absence of Joe Kinnear. You'd never mess with him when he was a player. Judging by that expression, you wouldn't do as a coach either. Thatcher's throw. Hartson tangling with Henning Berg and penalised. Scholes. York. Terry's tackle. Beckham. Keane. Now Scholes. It's going to drift away from Jesper Blomqvist though. From Paul Scholes. First England player for 7 years to score a hat-trick. It's Derby 1, Newcastle 1. And the Croatian international Silvio Maric has equalised with his first goal for Newcastle after Dion Burton's strike for Derby. Liverpool 0, Everton 1 at Anfield. Wimbledon leading Manchester United by a goal to 0. Michael Hughes picking out Kimball. Kimball up towards Hartson, and he's got away from Ronnie Johnson, and here's Ewell again! Oh, what a save from Schmeichel! Well, that's typical of the form that the great Dane is in at the moment, because Jason Ewell must have thought his second of the game was coming then. Fantastic stop from Schmeichel, It got lost in amongst Johnson's legs. Berg. Irwin. Cut out by Kerry Hughes, but that will bounce through to Schmeichel. Denmark's most capped player. 109 caps. Without the authority of Jaap Stam, there have been a couple of lapses at the back for Manchester United, but here they go, trying to sort it out up front. It's Keane. Marcus Gale. Blatant obstruction from Henning Berg, which I'm sure will bring a card for the Norwegian international. First man to be booked in this game. It's a yellow for Henning Berg, and he can't really launch into too much of a protest about it, I don't think. Kimball with this free kick. Aimed towards Marcus Gale. Straight through to Schmeichel. Might have skimmed off his head. Certainly not his hair, that's for sure. Blomqvist. York. Irwin finds his Republic of Ireland colleague Keane, who has to fend off the threat from Jason Ewell. Scholes on to York. Neville gets it back from Beckham. Gary Neville took a little deflection off Robbie Earle, and Sullivan had to get his fingertips to it as well to push it behind. A lively start to the game. Gary Neville trying to make amends for his mistake, which led to Wimbledon's goal. Beckham's corner. It'll be retrieved by Roy Keane. Thatcher with him. Keane getting ready to take the throw. Dwight York. Gary Neville. Blomqvist. Aimed towards York. It's going to roll back for Gary Neville. And that was a wild centre by Neville, although having said that, it wasn't too wild after all. Initially, it looked like it was going to float behind, but Henning Berg popped up on the far stick. Here go United again. Dwight York. Roy Keane. York, 1-2 with Keane. Sullivan came out and put the shutters up to frustrate Keane. It was a neat move, Keane getting it back. That touch just took it a little bit further away from him than he would have wanted. Beckham's corner. Foul by Berg. Free kick to Wimbledon. Neil Sullivan only has 9 clean sheets to his name this season in 38 games. He'll settle for number 10 today, that's for sure. In the Premiership elsewhere, it's Derby 1, Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0, Everton 1, and Charlton 0, Chelsea 1 in the London Derby at the Valley. Information of that Chelsea scorer shortly. Now Gale, good block by Neville. Hughes. Earl switching it away to Kimball. It's a lovely ball down the line for Marcus Gale. United split a little bit here. Berg met the cross. Kimball to Gale again. That was an extraordinarily strange throw from Schmeichel. Straight onto the boot of Kimball. Here's Kerry Hughes. Roy Keane says, I'll have that one. Gives it to Neville. Keane. Cole, unable to keep it in play. Well, 1999 has been just fine so far for Alex Ferguson. 17 matches played, 14 victories, 3 draws. Yet to taste defeat in this year. But trailing to Wimbledon at the moment, with just over a quarter of an hour played. A change of ball, and Kimball will get ready to take this Wimbledon throw. Hartson. Handball claims ignored by referee Barber. Kerry Hughes. Ben Thatcher, who's been switched to a right-back role today in the absence of the injured Kenny Cunningham. And a rare mistake from Michael Hughes, who's been a big hit here since joining from West Ham last season. Keane. Neville. Beckham. Challenged down by Kimball. Looked like it might have been with his hands, but it's merely a United throw. Berg. Keane. Blomqvist. Irwin outside. Blomqvist going inside though, and finding Andy Cole, who twisted and turned, but it ends up in the stand. Andy Cole in search of his 80th Manchester United goal. It's his 176th appearance for them today. Johnson. Irwin. Berg. Scholes to Dwight York. Gary Neville gets it back from Beckham. Now Scholes. Just took a little deflection, but that might favour United yet as Keane charged in. This is Michael Hughes. Kimball. Hartson. Berg goes with him, but here's Kerry Hughes. Hughes has Beckham and Gary Neville to contend with, and a foul by David Beckham. Gives Wimbledon a useful free kick. Hughes was sending Neville every way, and was soon stopped in his tracks by Beckham. It's going to be Kimball who whips the free kick in, but a disappointing outcome for Wimbledon. Could be even more disappointing here as Blomqvist finds Dwight York, but his touch for once lets him down. Keane, challenged by Blackwell. Goal news in the Merseyside derby, and it's really been turned around there. Liverpool 2, Everton 1, after Everton had taken the lead. Here's Scholes. Gary Neville. Kerry Hughes, aware of the presence of David Beckham. Now Marcus Gale. Ewell up towards Hartson. Ewell let it run to Earl, and Earl magnificently picked out Marcus Gale, and it skidded off his studs. They perhaps don't get as much credit as they deserve sometimes, Wimbledon. They do try to play football, even if their goal today did come from a rather direct route, which they do also favour a fair bit, of course. It's Derby County 2, Newcastle United 1, and the Italian Francesco Baiano has scored from the penalty spot for Derby. Flicked on by David Beckham to Andy Cole. There's no way through. There might be for Wimbledon, though, with Hartson looking for Michael Hughes. Oh, and Jonsson's ball went across Berg to Marcus Gale, and that was another chance for Wimbledon, presented to them by some dodgy defending. Robbie Fowler scored both goals for Liverpool in that Merseyside derby, one of them from the penalty spot. It's Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 1, another penalty in that game for Gary McAllister. Derby 2, Newcastle 1. It's Charlton 0, Chelsea 1. Up towards Marcus Gale. It favoured him rather than Berg, but it comes off the Norwegian for a Wimbledon corner. Newcastle have equalised at Derby. Gary Speed. Derby 2, Newcastle 2. Wimbledon leading by a goal to 0 here at Selhurst Park. Manchester United used to having it all their own way normally, are most certainly not having it all their own way at the moment. Rattled by Wimbledon. Kimball's corner comes to Jason Ewell, the goal scorer. Kept in play by Jonsson's neat footwork. Now it'll be a throw-in, though. Schmeichel. Be rather pleased if that went in the general direction of Henning Berg. Beckham. Dwight York. Roy Keane. Irwin has Blomqvist hugging the touchline, but it goes first to Dwight York. Now Blomqvist. Looking to torment Ben Thatcher. Did well, in fact, to find Irwin. His cross aimed towards Cole. Danger was limited. Keane. Blomqvist. And that'll be a free kick. Late challenge by the Swede Jesper Blomqvist on Jason Ewell. Blomqvist, who has experience of playing the top flight in Italy with AC Milan and Parma. Confirmation of that Chelsea goal scorer, by the way, Roberto Di Matteo. Charlton 0, Chelsea 1. Thatcher's free kick. Gale's header, but there was a push by Gale on Irwin. according to the referee. Paul Scholes. Gary Neville. Beckham. Up towards Cole. Beckham. Floats it in. It's going to drift away from Dwight York, and Ben Thatcher heard the several shouts to leave it. Thatcher, one of many former Millwall men in this Wimbledon squad. Pushed by Hartson, gives United a free kick. Hartson currently on 49 league goals in his career, as Alex Ferguson comes down from the stand to join Steve McLaren on the touchline. Jim Ryan just behind him. United beaten only once in their last 24 games. Gary Neville finding Cole, and Scholes with a fierce drive, magnificently pushed away by Sullivan. Scholes really let rip with that. England's hat-trick hero almost on target again. Beckham's corner, away by Hartson. Newell has lost his boot, I think. Beckham's still got both of his on. Beckham. Cleared by Earl, then by Ewell. Johnson and Michael Hughes tangling, but the referee seeing nothing wrong with that. Here's Gary Neville. Beckham. Keane. Gary Neville. Might have taken a little deflection on its way across. Scholes. United will try and breach Wimbledon's defence again here with a typical Beckham cross, cleared by Perry and then by Kerry Hughes. Berg sends it back in. Thatcher and Blomqvist going in for it. Manchester United's throw. York. Perry for company. Comes back to Blomqvist, who fancies having another go at Ben Thatcher. Got past him, but the cross met by Perry. Just over half an hour played at Selhurst Park. Wimbledon leading Manchester United through Jason Ewell's early goal after a mistake from Gary Neville. Hartson now looking to lead a Wimbledon charge, but how about that for a tackle from Dennis Irwin? Scholes. Beckham. Beckham, who hit his own man Cole and diverts wide, much to the frustration of both of them. David Beckham, with 5 goals this season, all of them come from outside of the box, and all of them have come from inside Old Trafford, in fact. Gale. Earl switching it to Kimball. Down the line to Marcus Gale. And Gale eluded Berg, but not Gary Neville. Now Keane. United keen to get going. Andy Cole. David Beckham. One of his trademark crosses, but he can't quite get it right at the moment, David Beckham. I think he will, though. that's for sure. Scholes. Unfair challenge by Ewell. United take the free kick quickly. Here's Beckham. Gary Neville. Blomqvist. Keane. Here's Scholes. Quickly closed down by Thatcher and Blackwell. Now it's going to come to Hartson. Offside flag up against Marcus Gale. Gale is actually Wimbledon's top scorer this season. Joint top scorer, in fact, now, because he has 10 goals. And Jason Ewell's early strike has taken him into double figures as well. Dwight York bearing down on the Wimbledon goal. Cole takes up the cause. Gary Neville. Beckham. And it's going to come through to Jesper Blomqvist. Oh dear. That's into row L from the Swedish international. He's only scored once for Manchester United at Everton in October. Irwin won the header. Michael Hughes on to Gale. Still Gale. Hartson decides it would be a good idea to get into the box, and Gale looks to pick him out. And also coming in was Kerry Hughes, and it was Hughes who made contact with that, I think. An inviting cross ready from Marcus Gale. Kerry Hughes, former Luton man. Thatcher was quickly in on Blomqvist then. Mind you, he's quickly in on everybody. Robbie Earl, caught out by York. Here's Keane. Cole. Scholes. Neville. Gary Neville's cross, but it's a comfortable catch for Neil Sullivan. Well, that's how they got the first goal, with one of his huge kicks and a defensive lapse. But here's Roy Keane. Wimbledon with just 2 wins in their last 11 Premiership games, but they've managed to stay in the top 8. Came so close to reaching Wembley, of course, in the Worthington Cup. They were beaten in the semi-finals by Tottenham. Ben Thatcher's throw, flicked on by Gale. Thatcher to try again. Jason Ewell. Oh, he got a cross in. Maybe his teammates weren't expecting him to. Schmeichel, one of his towering kicks. Scholes. Now here's Dwight York. Brings Blomqvist into it. And his cross. Back by York. Cole couldn't get a shot in. Keane could. but it's stopped by Sullivan. And flick on from Marcus Gale, finds Hartson. And Wimbledon get a throw. Well, Wimbledon typically put bodies in the way here to frustrate Andy Cole. Keane squeezed away through, but Neil Sullivan having a good game. Thatcher seemingly getting ready for a long throw. And there it goes towards Hartson. Never reached him, away by Irwin. Terry will send it back to Sullivan, who hasn't missed a Premiership game for a couple of years now. Hartson gets a second bite. I think Roy Keane felt it was his throw. I suppose if Keane and Hartson were going to argue about it, it would be rather interesting. Paul Scholes trying to pick out Dwight York inside the final 5 minutes of the first half. Neville, Beckham, gets it back from Dwight York. And it deflected through, and Andy Cole was quick to react, but so was Neil Sullivan. Gary Neville. Dwight York, Beckham, Neville allows York to take it up, and now here's Blomqvist. It was away by Robbie Earle. Irwin. Situation read by Blackwell, but here's Neville to try again. Slips it through to Paul Scholes. And Scholes was very quickly crowded out. It's Beckham now. York. Derby 2, Newcastle 3 at Pride Park. Timuri Ketsbaya has put the Geordies ahead in a cracking contest. Here's Gary Neville. He's going to have a go, and I think he very nearly got that one into the top tier of the stand. And they saw the funny side. Sitting in the executive boxes, bounced just below them. Foul by Hartson, putting himself about as usual. Keane. Scholes. Gary Neville. Beckham. York. Beckham. Patient progress from United. Beckham's cross comes through to Irwin. Oh, and surely Beckham with an equaliser for Manchester United. It's the first goal he scored from inside the box this season, David Beckham. And it comes just before the break. A cannon of Blackwell's body from Irwin's cross. And a bit of a cue had formed to knock it in. And Beckham, who went almost 5 months without a Premiership goal, has now scored 2 in 2 games. Just as Wimbledon might have thought they were going to see it out until half-time. Leeds have taken the lead against Nottingham Forest through Jimmy Floyd, Hasselbank and Ellen Road. It's Derby 2, Newcastle 3, Liverpool 2, Everton 1, Charlton 0, Chelsea 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 1. It's 1-1 here, and Dwight York has it. Blomqvist continued running, but so did Michael Hughes. Straight to York. Cole. Timely intervention from Chris Perry, one of the best defenders in the Premiership. Michael Hughes. Marcus Gale. This is Kerry Hughes, no relation to Michael. Who arrives on the scene now. We're in first half injury time. Blomqvist. Ball was always bobbling. Cole. Manchester United's fans now in full voice. And this looks promising again with Irwin. Oh, Perry slipped, but it didn't prove costly. Tottenham 0, Leicester 1 at White Hart Lane. Matt Elliott scoring for Leicester, beaten by Spurs in the Worthington Cup final. Berg's header, followed by another from his fellow Norwegian international Jonsson. Beckham, precise and perfect as ever in picking out Cole. But Earl stepped in. Keane. Gary Neville. Beckham looking to turn provider. Again, it's another hanging cross which drifts over that way from Beckham. Been a few of those in the first half. Don't think Alex enjoyed that cross somehow. It's half-time at Selhurst Park. It's been quite a lively 45 minutes. Wimbledon taking a dramatic early lead when Jason Newell capitalised on some hesitancy from Gary Neville. But just before half-time, David Beckham pounced to equalised for United. I just wonder how vital that will be that they scored just as Wimbledon thought they were going to walk down that tunnel with a 1-0 lead over the Premiership leaders. It's half-time at Selhurst Park. Wimbledon 1, Manchester United 1. Welcome back to Selhurst Park in southeast London. Wimbledon and Manchester United locked together at 1-1. Manchester United's only defeat in 24 games came against Middlesbrough in December, when Alex Ferguson wasn't actually present due to a personal bereavement. But they've been tested a little bit by Wimbledon today. Jason Newell's early goal putting Wimbledon ahead. United had plenty of possession, mind you, and it finally paid off when David Beckham pounced just before half-time. It's perfectly poised. The start of a week that will decide much for Alex Ferguson this season, with Juventus to come in the European Cup and Arsenal to come in the FA Cup. No changes on either side at the start of the second half. As usual, it's a very strong bench for United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ryan Giggs, Nicky Butt and Phil Neville, the outfield players on the bench. Wimbledon have Andy Roberts, Neil Ardley, Carl Court and Gareth Ainsworth. Peter Schmeichel beaten for only the 7th time in the last 14 games by Jason Newell's goal. Jonsson's header. United, remember, without their giant Dutch defender Jaap Stam today. He turned an ankle training with Holland in midweek as they prepared for their match with Argentina. It must be said that without Stam they did look a little shaky in that department in the first half. Beckham, offside flag. Dwight York, who spent the last couple of weeks, and part of it anyway, back in his homeland in the West Indies. Alex Ferguson, chomping on his gum as usual. Earl, well, that will drift through to Schmeichel. York to Cole. Here's Ben Thatcher though. Oh, that's a poor clearance. Straight at Blomqvist, who turns and who finds Andy Cole. And Sullivan is there to deny Cole a goal. Gary Neville scored his second United goal against Everton in his last game. The last chance of this game we just saw falling to Andy Cole. Hartson. Jonsson stuck a leg in. Schmeichel quitting English football, of course, at the end of the season after 8 very successful years. Kimball. Berg's header presents Wimbledon with a throw. Henning Berg was outstanding in those European games against Inter Milan. One of United's best players across the two legs. Kimball with Wimbledon's throw. Was that a handball by Neville? Big cry from Wimbledon. It was more misjudged by the England man than anything else. Scholes finding Blomqvist. Irwin. On by Keane, but here's Ben Thatcher. Handball by Scholes. Paul Scholes not having as enjoyable an afternoon as he did a week ago this time. In the absence of Joe Kinnear, Mick Harford is alongside Dave Kemp on the touchline looking after things. Foul by Jonsson on Hartson. It's a Wimbledon free kick, and that could come in handy. Michael Hughes might be the favourite to have a pop, if indeed that is the plan. Although there are plenty of big men for Wimbledon to aim for as well, of course. Kimball also standing over the free kick. It's sent in by Kimball. I'm sure that worked really well on the training ground during the week, but it certainly didn't come off then. There was no flag, it must be said, but there was no chance of anybody latching onto it. For Schmeichel is one of his glances to the linesman. Flicked on by Beckham. Cole. Gary Neville. Beckham. Away by Ewell. Keane. Scholes. Neville. Keane. He's about to be sandwiched by Kerry Hughes and Earl. Fine challenge by Kerry Hughes. Gale. Hartson. Johnson did enough. Blomqvist spun away from Thatcher, but player's been hauled back. Roy Keane given a warning by Graham Barber. He's had a few warnings like that in his career. Blomqvist trying to shake off Ewell. Fouled by Ewell. Scholes. York. Keane. Beckham is hugging the touchline, no surprise there. With Gary Neville nearby. Beckham's cross. No problem whatsoever for Sullivan. Petar Rudy has equalised his Sheffield Wednesday against Coventry. It's 1-1 at Hillsborough. Irwin. Scholes. Situation read by Thatcher. Kerry Hughes. Looking for his namesake, Michael Hughes. Cut out by Irwin. The beneficiary is Blomqvist. Irwin tearing down the flank as well. And Blomqvist took the wrong option. Michael Hughes. Gale. It's going to break kindly for him. But then there's always Roy Keane lurking. Keane up towards Beckham. Kimball deciding that that was the best place to put it. Dwight York. Scholes. Blocked by Robbie Earl. There's a chase on for this. Earl's momentum took him there first. Michael Hughes. John Hartson. Irwin steps across him. Schmeichel very casually out towards Johnson. Irwin to Blomqvist. Wonderfully done by Jesper Blomqvist to get away from Thatcher. Andy Cole. Dwight York. Beckham. Tackled by Kerry Hughes. Robbie Earl. Berg will help it back to Schmeichel. Gary Neville. Little touch by York. Cole trying to give it back, but Perry was quickly across. Beckham. York, another little flick. Kerry Hughes, that was rather wasteful. Straight through to Schmeichel. Goal at Ellen Road in the Premiership. It's Leeds United 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Alan Rodgers equalising for the Baseman boys. Forest, who won here at Selhurst Park recently. Elsewhere, Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 0, Chelsea 1, Derby 2, Newcastle 3, Liverpool 2, Everton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 1, Spurs 0, Leicester 1. Dwight York. Blomqvist gets the better of Thatcher, trying to weave his way through, but Thatcher came back for more and was just caught late by the Swede Blomqvist. Ben Thatcher actually made his Wimbledon debut against Manchester United on the opening day of the 96-97 season. A match best remembered for David Beckham's goal from the halfway line. Beckham on target again here. It's 1-1. And it's a United throw. Dennis Irwin in his 9th season with United. Scholes. Gary Neville. Feeds it through to Beckham. Oh, it's came through to Dwight York. Sneaked its way through to York. Earl shaking off United's captain, Keane. Jason Ewell. They almost invited him to have a go then. So he did. He's progressed through the ranks at Wimbledon, Jason Ewell. Was linked with Arsenal not so long ago. Signed a new contract with Wimbledon though. Beckham. Gary Neville. Keane. Cut out by Blackwell. Earl. Kerry Hughes. Kimball. Blomqvist. Irwin. York. Now Keane. Gary Neville. United looking to create an opening here. It's sent in by Beckham. Dwight York just couldn't quite get there. Sullivan did get there. And here go Wimbledon now with Marcus Gale. Trickles through to Hartson, then again, not quite. Henning Berg ensured that. Scholes. York. Keane. Dwight York. Blomqvist. Manchester United toying with Wimbledon a little bit here. Beckham. Gary Neville. Beckham finds Blomqvist, who will surely have a go! Oh, and the wicket deflection! And somehow Blomqvist is denied what would have been only his second United goal. Sullivan reacting well, but they're coming back for more. Roy Keane, Beckham. It's all hands to the Wimbledon pump now. Blomqvist, away by Hartson, back inside his own box. Scholes. Berg. York. And here's Henningberg again. Oh. Sullivan came rushing out. Berg went rushing in. Neither made any contact. Well, the awkward deflection here so nearly put Manchester United in front, but Sullivan's studs just about got to that. It's Derby 2, Newcastle 4 at Pride Park. The Peruvian international captain Norberto Solano has scored the fourth goal for Newcastle. Irwin's header. Hughes and Ewell getting in each other's way. Robbie Earl, Kerry Hughes. Ben Thatcher. Michael Hughes. Irwin was Mr. Composed, Mr. Dependable as usual. And Blomqvist has shaken off Ben Thatcher here. Oh, and Perry's interception was vital. Clearance completed by Hughes. You wonder if he was playing for another club, Chris Perry, whether he might have been recognised at international level. Wimbledon not exactly fashionable when it comes to that. Dwight York. Gary Neville. Beckham with a dummy. Which didn't quite work. Kimball. Offside against Marcus Gale. £250,000 buy from Brentford a few years back, Gale. The sort of fees that Wimbledon had to deal in at the time. Michael Hughes. It's Northern Ireland against the Republic of Ireland, with Irwin and Keane on Hughes. No foul. Perry won it fairly and squarely. Leeds 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Ian Hart for the goal at Elm Road. Wimbledon's throw. Marcus Gale. And that surely come off the Wimbledon man. Then again, perhaps not. Corner. We might get a better idea here. And in fact, it did bobble back off Berg. Hartson and Earl amongst the many awaiting Kimball's corner. Robbie Earl won it. Here's Ronnie Johnson. York. What a pass from Dwight York to Roy Keane. Irwin. Scholes. Gary Neville. Shut out by Perry. Challenged by Neville, set up Beckham though. It's going to be a corner, Thatcher knocking it behind. What can Manchester United do with this? It's a quick corner. Beckham, Keane. Wimbledon giving them a little bit of space here. Another corner. Andy Cole with 21 goals this season. Beckham's corner. Uncompromising clearance from Hartson. Michael Hughes. Surely a foul on Blomqvist, indeed it was. From the Northern Ireland international. Beckham. York. Irwin. Certainly saw something opening up, Dennis Irwin, but it didn't open up for long. Blomqvist. Away by Earl. And it found Kerry Hughes. Now Earl. And he's having a run at Manchester United, and a clean strike as well. Schmeichel grabs hold of at the second attempt. He has a tremendous record, Robbie Earl, for a midfielder. Well over 100 goals to his name. Beckham. York to Scholes. Wimbledon getting stuck in. And Roy Keane unable to advance. Kimball ensured that. United have the corner though. David Beckham with United's corner. Berg was in there, didn't make any contact. Cleared by Kerry Hughes. Young striker Carl Court is warming up for Wimbledon. Wonder if he might make an appearance soon. Blomqvist. York. Scholes now to Cole. Cole weaving his way into a position from where he could shoot and coming close. Team Blackwell wasn't too sure which way he was going. Wimbledon are making a change with John Hartson being replaced by Carl Court. Another of the impressive youngsters that Wimbledon have within their ranks. So Hartson off and Court is on. And it remains 1-1. We're midway through the second half. Court gets his first touch. Michael Hughes to Gale. Pokes it through for Ewell. Peter Schmeichel really has been in fantastic form since returning from a much publicised break in the Caribbean in January. Certainly seemed to recharge his batteries. Gary Neville. Dwight York. Blackwell is with him. So is Beckham. It's Spurs 0, Leicester City 2 at White Hart Lane. Tony Cottee exacting revenge for Leicester's Worthington Cup final defeat against the same side. Here at Selhurst Park, it's Wimbledon 1, Manchester United 1. United probing without much penetration. Beckham. Berg in there. Blackwell got it away, not very far though. Scholes. Sullivan will come, and Sullivan will claim. Blomqvist. York. Cole. It's a very similar United performance to the one they produced at Newcastle just before they played Inter Milan. They don't appear to be firing on all cylinders, but they do appear to be doing enough, although it's still level here. Now Carl Court, holding court inside the United half. Michael Hughes. Ewell. Thatcher. Aimed towards Gale. Gary Neville's clearance might give United a chance to create something. Then again, it might not. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make an entry soon for Manchester United. The Norwegian hotshot, who has 16 goals to his name, despite spending the majority of the season on the bench. Keane. Johnson, who's stepped in to replace the injured Stam today. Stam should be okay for the big one against Juventus in the week. Cole. Nudged away from him by Perry. Thatcher. Didn't hang about. Gale. That was poor. Straight to Johnson. Here's Keane. Dwight York. Fouled by Kerry Hughes. Now United can make a change, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming on for his 32nd appearance of the season, 17 of them as a substitute. But he has proved so effective. He's replacing his fellow Scandinavian, Jesper Blomqvist. Well, Solskjaer scored 4 goals. He came on as a sub at Nottingham Forest. 16 in all this season. Manchester United now have the potent threat of York, Cole, Solskjaer, Scholes, Beckham, just about everybody really. It bobbled off Kimball's boot and away for a throw. Gary Neville takes it. Dwight York. Roy Keane. York. Trying to prise open this Wimbledon defence. Failing to do so again, as it's humped away by Thatcher. Irwin. Scholes. Trying to ping it through to Andy Cole, but it seemed to gather up pace as it went. Jonsson's header. Thatcher steamed in. And here he is again. Kimball, or rather Kerry Hughes. It should be Schmeichel's, and it is. What bargain buy he has proved to be. Cost a mere £550,000 from Bromby 8 years ago. Seems to be a almost lethargic pace to the game at times, but United trying to up the tempo here. And Chris Perry's been fouled by Andy Cole. Perry, who missed the last game at Blackburn with a thigh injury, and thus losing also his ever-present record in the Premiership. Supported Wimbledon as a kid. In fact, he was born not far from their old ground at Plough Lane. Kerry Hughes' header. Flag is up. Carl caught offside. Inside the last quarter of an hour. The first half certainly had its moments at Selhurst Park. The second half hasn't really had too many moments. Blackwell with the up and under. Well, not very convincing header from Jonsson. Gale. Marcus Gale! Carried by Schmeichel. And Irwin was pretty cool, considering Michael Hughes was almost in attendance. Fiercely struck by Gale. Wimbledon throw off Solskjaer. Thatcher takes it. Here's Court. Jonsson's challenge. Thatcher's throw. Ewell. Here's Roy Keane. Now Beckham on the charge for Manchester United. It ran away from Cole, but not from York, who goes down under the pressure of Perry's challenge, but the referee didn't even give it a second look. Dwight York's collar was ruffled by that. Here's Keane. Beckham. Cole misjudged it, but still has it. Up towards York, away by Blackwell. Scholes. Irwin. Scholes. Gary Neville's cross. York is in there! And it flashes just wide from Dwight York. 14 goals in his last 16 games. And this was a decent opportunity. Now this was the half-hearted penalty appeal as Chris Perry went in with Dwight York, and not sure if he made contact with the ball. Now here's Ewell. Oh, and it almost squirmed away from Schmeichel. The Selhurst Park pitch is rather infamous for being slightly bobbly. York. Beckham. Here's Cole, trying to get away from Perry. Excellent work once again from Chris Perry. I think that'll be handball. Can't give it, in fact. Didn't really matter anyway. Cole for York. Scholes advancing. And Solskjaer has found it! Paul Scholes! And that sums up United's day, perhaps, and Sullivan's day, because he has been in top form. The Wimbledon defence prized open, Solskjaer flicked it on. Another super save from Sullivan. Wimbledon are going to make a change before this corner is taken, with Alan Kimball replaced by Neil Ardley. Looks like he might have pulled a muscle. So it's still 1-1. And Neil Ardley is on. His last goal in the Premiership came against Manchester United in a 5-2 defeat here last season. His 3 goals this season all come in the Worthington Cup. Ten minutes remaining. Gale, caught. And caught! Use of hands as he went through Cole Court. And he's going to get a yellow card, I think, for continuing. Not much doubt about that, really. And for going on and sticking it in the net, he gets a yellow card. Wimbledon are making another change, with Kerry Hughes being replaced by Andy Roberts. Signed from Crystal Palace about a year ago. Changed clubs, but didn't change grounds when he moved to Wimbledon. Sharers of Palace's Selhurst Park home, of course. United get the free kick, which is taken quickly. Here's Scholes. Solskjaer. Confirmation that Alan Kimball pulled a hamstring. Henningberg. Dennis Irwin now. Solskjaer couldn't really do much with that. Here's Dennis Irwin. Beckham gets it back from Keane, up towards Scholes. His cross pretty poor. Not only has Alan Kimball pulled a hamstring, in fact, for Wimbledon, but so too has Kerry Hughes. That's why he had to go off. Michael Hughes. Dispossessed by Keane. Here's Cole, here's York rather, Cole in the middle. Dwight York steps past Perry. His cross is palmed away by Sullivan, and Beckham was incoming, and it was deflected over. Neil Sullivan called upon once again. Sullivan inspired, and he'll need to be for a few more minutes yet if Wimbledon are going to take something from this game. because it's a corner kick. Beckham. Away by Gale. Keane. Solskjaer. York. Foul court. Berg's challenge. Solskjaer away to Keane. United stepping up the pace in the closing stages, going in search of a winner. But Chris Perry was able to clear ranks for Wimbledon. For Hillsborough, it's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Coventry 2. Noel Whelan, the scorer. What a vital goal that could be as Coventry fight for survival. Irwin. Keane. And York. Right handball against Ardley. And it's given right on the edge of the area. Flicked up by York. Blocked with Ardley's arm. Now what can United do with this? David Beckham, famed of course for his free kicks. I wonder if it's too close for him. A natural delay to add to the tension as the Wimbledon wall is ordered back. And more delay as Beckham and Solskjaer exchange words. Beckham, so often the provider of something special in these situations. And as we enter the final 5 minutes of the game, can he conjure up a moment of magic here? He can't. The wall proving very effective. It's Liverpool 3, Everton 2 in the Merseyside derby. Berger with Liverpool's third, Jeffers with Everton's second, and Leeds against Nottingham Forest. 3-1 the score there now to Leeds. Alan Smith, their talented teenager, on target at Elland Road. Easy for me to say. United going in search of a winner here. Gary Neville. Keane turned. Is that not obstruction? No. According to referee Barber. Roy Keane complaining to Barber, and I think his tussle with Roberts will earn both of them a little ticking off. Sensible refereeing, really. Scholes. York. Thatcher's challenge. He felt it was his throw. United have taken their throw quickly. York. Beckham. Keane. Anxious moments for Wimbledon. They cannot dig it out at the moment. They might do now, though. Carl Court. Can't find a way past Ronnie Johnson. Gets support from Michael Hughes. Roberts. Court. Proving persistent. Robbie Earle. Michael Hughes. Hughes delivers, plenty of Wimbledon bodies in there, but it's away by Neville. And now here's Keane. Time for another surge into the Wimbledon half. Solskjaer. Scholes. Gary Neville. And knocked down by Cole. Blackwell wasn't quite sure of what was happening around him, so you can't really blame him for doing what he did, but it's a United corner. The 90 minutes all but up at Selhurst Park. Beckham's corner, Johnson's header, and it's grabbed by Sullivan. Sullivan and Wimbledon holding firm. There will be 3 minutes of added on time. Here's Solskjaer. Cole on the chase, and Blackwell struggling. Here's Cole, and now Beckham. It's bubbling, and it's away by Earl. Just won't fall for United inside that box. And when it has done, Sullivan has been a marvellous last line of the defence. Thatcher. Gale. Ewell. He gets it back from Roberts. It opens up suddenly for Ewell. Thumping drive, but always rising from Jason Ewell. But it really did open up for him. We're in injury time. It's 1-1 at Selhurst Park. Derby 3, Newcastle 4. Paulo Wanchope getting one back for Derby in a thriller at Pride Park. Solskjaer. York. Anywhere will do for Wimbledon now, as they look to stop the rot of 3 straight defeats. Manchester United will make it 20 matches unbeaten, but can they nick it yet? They'll have a corner off Andy Roberts. Corner taken quickly. Beckham sends it in. Gale sends it out. Chelsea have beaten Charlton, so they could close in a little bit on Manchester United. Here's Ronnie Johnson, left winger. Across it goes. Cole came out to Solskjaer. Wimbledon thrusting bodies in where they had to go. And that's going to be a free kick for a trip by Hughes on Keane. And it's going to be an anxious final few seconds for Wimbledon here. David Beckham standing over the free kick. Can Wimbledon hang on here? Beckham sends it into the danger zone. Referee spotted an infringement, and the home side have a free kick. Mick Harford and Dave Kemp and Sam Haman on the left there, the Wimbledon owner. I think we'll settle for a point from this game, and that's what they have. It's the first point they've taken off Alex Ferguson's Manchester United in 10 meetings with them in the Premiership. United needed an equaliser from David Beckham after Jason Ewell had put Wimbledon ahead early on. Manchester United had by far the lion's share of the possession, but could not breach Wimbledon's dogged defence. And you have to say that Neil Sullivan in their goal turned in surely a man of the match performance. Sullivan inspired, keeping out the likes of York and Cole, and not many have managed to do that this season. United head into their colossal cup contest with Juventus and Arsenal on the back of a Premiership draw here. It finishes at Selhurst Park, Wimbledon 1, Manchester United 1.